Hello, let's see how to start programming for the KDE community. This is a very fresh installation of Arch Linux. Inside the Arch install, which is the text user interface wizard for installing Arch Linux, I have selected the installation type KDE Plasma 6, and I have logged into KDE Plasma. This is how the experience looks like when you first log into KDE Plasma 6. You can see the Welcome Center. I'm going to close it, and I want to do a few changes inside this virtual machine, this installation of Arch Linux, and I also need a web browser. So let's see if we have a web browser already. All applications. Nothing. I expected Mozilla Firefox to be installed. I expected the SDDM KDE specific themes to be installed. It's not the case. Inside favorites, I expect that the KDE terminal console is favorited, which is not. So let's fix that. All applications, letter K, console, right click, add to favorites. We have Kate, which I need. We have console, system settings, which means that we can remove Discover and system settings from the main KDE Plasma panel. Unpin from Task Manager. I have them easily available by just starting the Start menu. Favorites is shown by default. I have system settings and Discover here. Discover being the App Store. Okay, so we need console. In order to install Firefox, I'm not sure if Firefox can be installed from the KDE Plasma Discover App Store. Let's test, but as far as I know, it should not work. There's all sorts of things, but not applications. So this is a wallpaper. This is a, I don't know, KeyRunner add-on. Because Plasma Discover is both an app store, but also allows you to install things from the KDE store, which is a website that contains additions to KDE Plasma, such as wallpapers, window decorations, cute themes, cute widgets themes, icon sets, icon themes, etc. Okay, so we'll need to install from the command line. Unfortunately, we don't have a web browser such that we can open the Arch Wiki at the Rosetta page and to see how to actually use the command line package manager. We know it's pacman. Let's see if --help exists. Yes, there is such a thing. Let's see if a man page exists. Nope. Okay. Fortunately, I know some command lines by heart. Let's become super user. So we want to update all of the packages and download the metadata from all of the repositories which are enabled by default with binary packages for this installation of Arch Linux. Everything's up to date. Let's search for the Firefox package. pacman space -uppercase s lowercase s searches for the next parameter, so Firefox. There's language packs. Probably if we go ascending alphabetically, we should find that thing. So let's use the paginator. There's no less. I use the other paginator more. I can see it in here. So Firefox is the name of the Arch Linux binary package, the way that I would expect. And then there's additional varieties like Developer Edition. So pacman minus uppercase S Firefox. It installs dependencies, so other binary packages that Firefox depends on, such as libxss and mailcap. We have Firefox pinned to the KDE Plasma main panel. Let's move it to position 1. Let's see if it works. Here it is. Let me do a bit of housekeeping in here. Never bookmarks. Customize these guys. And settings. Tabs. Blank page. And download. Always ask. Right click, new private window. Everything seems to work okay. So let's start our adventure. We have the correct operating system, Arch Linux. We have a web browser. Let's go to the KDE web page, homepage, kde.org. If you don't know what that is, you can search on Google. I searched on Google wiki space KDE such that it finds the Wikipedia page. And in the info box, we can see that the website is kde.org. This website has this main hamburger menu. If it's the width is enough, it's going to show a main menu. In here, in the KDE main menu or in the hamburger menu, we want to go to the item Get Involved, and then we want to program for the KDE community, which means ways to contribute, development. Right-click, open a new tab. Okay, so this is the entry point for starting to program for KDE. So this is the start of the procedure how to program for KDE. Let's see what's in here. It says that the KDE community uses metrics. The very first thing that you should do is to get a metrics account and join this metrics room. KDE new contributors, ask questions about contributing to KDE. Do you want to start contributing to KDE? Then this is the metrics room for you. So do read this web page, do create a metrics account, and then do join this metrics room. Just click on this and provide the credentials that you have just created, and you should be good to go. Okay, how do you do that? I don't know. So you should not use the KDE Metrics home server to create accounts because that's not possible. You can use any other metrics server to create an account. There's a list of public home servers. There's the official metrics.org home server. Let's see. We need to choose one of these where we want to create our metrics account. I would probably prefer this one. So the official metrics instance, element.io, the one from metrics.org. And I would use as metrics client this web application, metrics, the web application. So what is metrics is something similar to IRC, something similar to Slack. It's a communication environment similar to an instant messenger, similar to, I don't know, WhatsApp or something. You create an account, probably in here. And then you use that account when you click, where is it? When you click in here on the wiki page community.kd.org/metrics, when you click on KD new contributors. Okay, says you're invited to talk on metrics. Continue. It asks what metrics client application do you want to use. I always go for the default one, which is Element Web. Continue once and continue in your browser twice. Okay, and in here you go sign in and provide your credentials, user and password. And you should be good to go. Why do you want to be in the chat room? Metrics KD new contributors, to ask any possible questions. If something doesn't work on your end, do ask there. While you're still on your journey to learning how to become a programmer for KD. So while you're still not graduated the procedure how to start programming for KD, you should at least be joined into this metrics room. If you have any issues, do ask there. Also read what other people are asking and understand the answers. Okay, so we did where to find the development team. Next up, we will need skills. Where is Kate? I need it to be favorited. So this is the default, in my opinion, KD text editor. It's called Kate. It shows this welcome screen by default. I do not need this welcome page, so I uncheck the checkbox show welcome page for new window. Click. And now whenever we start Kate, the welcome page will not be shown. A new blank page file text will be opened. Okay, so this is the procedure how to start programming for KD. And in here you will have 3 things that you will do in parallel. So 3 directions. How to read from KD Git repositories. How to write to KD Git repositories, and in the middle we have what to learn or how to learn. Okay, so there's 3 totally parallel directions that you will take. At most times you would be doing at the same time something from each of these 3 directions. You want to read to know how to read from KD Git repositories. That means you want to know where the Git repositories are, how they are grouped, what are their names, how to Git clone those Git repositories, how to compile those Git repositories, how to install the various applications, KD applications, how to run the various Git application, KD graphical user interface applications. I call it read from KD Git repositories because this doesn't really require that you have accounts, online accounts created with the KD community. Whereas writing to KD Git repositories will require more than one more than one online account. Okay, you already have one online account, the one for metrics. So the online accounts that you need. One for metrics. And you also need one email account, which I suggest it's on gmail.com. This is my wiki page and mariusp.github.io. In here I have part of this screen recording as text. I have a ton of screen recordings, which are beneficial if you want to start programming for KDE. And the parallel tracks are defined a bit differently here. So the directions, the parallel directions that you want to go to. But in online accounts, let's see what we want. So we want an email account. Again, I suggest that you create a Gmail account, and the Gmail account should contain at least your entire preferred first name and then some other characters in there. So if your name is John and you prefer people to call you John, then do have John, the entire word in here somewhere, with some prefixes, some suffixes, some letters, some numbers. For instance, I give this example where somebody wants to be called Walter. That's the preferred first name. And then the email account is Walter, and then GM from the family name and J from the other first name. Why that? Because this email account will be present in a ton of places, and it will be easier for people to call you by the first name. If you want to be called John, then it's going to be obvious from the email account, this is John. Similar to the way you have your corporate email account, where you either have your entire name, like john.smith@company.com, or you have jsmith@company.com, or you have johns@company.com. So in a similar vein, you want a email account that's part of your identity. Okay, so now we have a metrics account, a Gmail account. In time, you will create more accounts. You will have an identity.kde.org account that's going to be used for writing to the KDE Git repositories. You will also have a bug tracker account for the KDE community. KDE uses Bugzilla, which the website is bugs.kde.org. Okay. Next up, let's continue the procedure with the procedure. I'm going to display the title bar, the kwin KDE specific title bar for Firefox, because otherwise I'm going to mess something up. I'm not used to not seeing the title bar from kwin. Okay, so this one, this top rectangle with the application icon, the page title, and minimize, maximize, restore buttons. Skills is about the direction 2, where you learn and you keep learning. I suggest that you start learning the C programming language first, and then the C++ programming language. If you don't know how to program at all, if you did not program before, then you should stop looking at this video, because I cannot help you. I do not know how to teach people how to start programming. I know people that did program before, how they can start programming for KDE. In my opinion, learning to program takes more than 4 years. If you're already a programmer, I don't know, maybe a Java-only programmer, and you want to start to program for KDE, then I know what you need to do. You need to learn the C programming language, you need to learn the C++ programming language, you need to learn how to use the integrated development environment Qt Creator, you need to start reading some books about the Qt framework, about QML, about Qt widgets, you need to start looking at some screen recordings, you need to start practicing inside the integrated development environment Qt Creator with C programming language, C++ programming language, QML, Qt widgets, and Qt in general, and QML. So I know the steps that you need to follow if you did program before. If not, I do not know how to help. Okay. Then you will need an operating system in order to program for KDE. The operating system needs to be Linux. If you don't have a Linux installation on your laptop or your desktop computer or in a virtual machine, you will need to get one. There's some possibilities of helping if you only have a Windows machine, but that's not actually developing for the KDE community, that's actually porting existing KDE Git repositories such that they work correctly on Windows. So that's a different thing. It's porting or packaging, it's not actually developing and staying up to date with KDE Git repositories and contributing upstream. Okay. You don't have a Linux installation, you can either install on a Windows computer in a dual boot mode, do search what that means, or if you have enough resources, you could create a virtual machine. Virtual machines are easy to use nowadays, but you will require an AMD 64 CPU, so an Intel 64-bit central processing unit. You cannot do this on a Mac, Apple Silicon laptop. So you need Intel hardware, and you need either to have installed on the real hardware the Linux operating system, one of the Linux operating systems, or in a virtual machine. This is what we say in here. Do your development in a virtual machine if you're on Windows or macOS on Intel hardware. If you install a Linux operating system, either in a virtual machine or on the real hardware, you should use one Linux operating system that has recent enough versions of the Qt framework and maybe of other binary packages. Arch Linux is a good candidate because it's always up to date. After a software gets a release, this release will be packaged into Arch Linux and will be available such that you can install it via the Pacman package manager. So it's a rolling release, Arch Linux. OpenSUSE Tumble with a similar thing, so also rolling release, has up-to-date packages. And then there's also Fedora KDE, which has recent enough software. But you need to make sure that you're using the latest version of the Fedora KDE, because new releases of Fedora happen multiple times a year, so be on the latest version. We're using Arch Linux, so we're okay. Next up, we need to install software in order to be able to read KDE Git repositories and build them, compile them, install them. We're going to need this software, which is called kde-builder. So this is a framework, a development tool that knows how to build individual KDE Git repositories. Let's actually look at the KDE Git repositories and see why we need such a thing. So you can search on Google, you go KDE, invent, and then the name of an application. We saw that Kate is such an application, this text editor. Okay, not good results. I'm not sure why the wrong search results appear here. I know. Since this Google search term is not great, let's try another one, KD apps. Kate should take us to the website apps.kd.org / the name of the application, such as Kate. And in here we have this link on the middle right where it says details for Kate project, browse source code. This is the page that we have actually wanted to go to, invent.kd.org /utilities/Kate. This is one of the KD Git repositories, and there's many of them. These are applications that are graphical user interface applications, but these Git repositories, in order to be built, will require other KD Git repositories, which might be of type library. So we have KD Git repositories for libraries, and we have KD Git repositories for graphical user interface applications. The one for the Git repositories for GUI applications, graphical user interface applications, will depend on KD Git repositories for KD libraries. Okay, so this Kate actually depends on a number of other Git repositories. The Git repository frameworks Breeze icons, Git repository frameworks extra CMake modules, etc. Let's look at these. Okay, so invent.kd.org / and then hopefully this works. This is one of the Git repositories that's needed in order to build this one. If you want to build this Git repository, invent.kd.org /utilities/Kate, you need to know that before that you need to git clone this Git repository, invent.kd.org /framework/breeze -icons, configure it correctly, build it correctly, install it correctly, and only after that you go to the next one and the next one and the next one, etc. And finally you will be able to git clone this Git repository, configure it, build it, install it. And this tool that we're using, kde-builder, knows the order between Git repositories. Knows how to git clone each individual repository, knows how to configure it, build it, install it, and knows not to do that before doing the same thing for all of the dependencies of this Git repository that we want. So if we say kd-builder space Kate, we tell the tool kd-builder to build the KD Git repository Kate. It will not actually build it before building all of these dependencies that we saw before. Okay, so this is the page. Let's go back to not being the super user. Who am I? So who am I shows the Linux username that we have for the current user inside the text shell, the command line shell. Says administrator. Previously we were the user root. We can also see the name of the user in this thing, which is called the shell prompt. So square bracket, then Linux username at computer name space, and then this tilde is the home directory. pwd shows the directory where we are currently, which is the home directory of the user administrator, or tilde. You can use cd or cd tilde to go to the home directory of the current user. As part of your learning, you will also need to learn about Linux operating systems, about the specific operating system that you're using, in this case Arch Linux. Unix in general, the text user interface editors, file managers, SSH, systemd, etc. And that's documented in somewhere in here. Wiki page full of learning resources. So the wiki page that ends with /learn. This is some of the things that you should learn as part of the second direction, how to learn. This is an overview of KDE and the various KDE libraries. This is how to learn the C programming language. This is how to learn the C++ programming language. This is how to learn Qt widgets, and QML. We use the CMake build system for building KDE Git repositories, KDE projects. And then you should also learn about the Linux command line, Linux of your Linux operating system, the various command line utilities and executables. Okay, back to where we were. Control L or clear cleans the terminal. You can zoom the font of console terminal by Control mouse wheel. Control mouse wheel. Okay, it says that KDE Git repositories live on invent.kde.org, and they're grouped into these groups. The most important group here is frameworks. Around 80 Git repositories, which are libraries, which are needed by other KDE graphical user interface applications, for instance. Also needed by what you see in here, which is the desktop environment Plasma, KDE Plasma Shell 6. Okay, so these are the most important libraries. And then the individual KDE applications are grouped by category. There's accessibility, education, games, graphics, etc. This is a Dina Bomber-like game. This is a Pac-Man-like game. This is a Mahjong-like game, etc. For graphics, we have the default photo viewer in KDE Plasma, which is called GwenView. DigiCam, which is an application for you to manage your images, your photographs, if you have a large number of photographs. Color Paint, this is a application like MS Paint, Microsoft Paint, etc. Okay, back to where we were. We were here. Okay, we have video tutorials on how to install this build tool kde-builder on various Linux operating systems. For instance, you can watch this one to see how we install kde-builder on Arch Linux. Or you can continue with this video. So kde-builder knows how to build one KDE Git repository and knows the dependencies, the build order, the dependency between Git repositories. kde-builder does not require sudo privileges, does not require running as the user root, which means it will not write outside of the home directory of the current user. The home directory of the current user is /home/administrator. kde-builder will git clone in here, in this directory, will compile in this directory, and will install in this directory. It will certainly not touch /usr, which is the directory for the binary packages of your Linux operating system, in this case for Arch Linux. Okay, so we need to be careful about this directory in your home directory, ~/.local/bin, and we can start. We need curl first. Let's see if curl is available. It's installed. That's great. We will need bash. Let's see if bash is available. How we do that? Bash is available and bash is already running. We are inside bash right now. Okay, Control L to clean. We want to run this block of command lines. You can go copy to clipboard by clicking on this button, or you can just select right-click copy, right-click paste, and press enter. What it will do, it uses the curl executable, which is similar to wget to download a file. The file is from invent.k.org/sdk/kde-builder, which is the Git repository of this application kde-builder, one file from there. And then it's going to run it. This file will require sudo writes in order to run this command line. Sudo pacman -s, which means install binary packages, git, and then these other 3 binary packages. I'm providing the sudo password. I want to continue with installation. And now it's complaining that ~/.local/bin is not in my path environment variable. What that means, in bash, which is the current command line shell, there's the concept of environment variables. You can see the complete list using set. These are the environment variables. There's an environment variable named bash and has the value /usr/bin/bash. And one of the most important environment variables here is called path, this guy, and has this value. So only from /usr, nothing from my home directory, and that's not okay. Let's see in here. So about ~/.local/bin says that all Linux operating systems, if this directory exists, and maybe also if this directory does not exist, should have this directory at the start of the path environment variable. Okay, let's see first if this directory exists. ~/.local/bin, copy. We're using ls, which is the command line executable that tells us the content of this provided directory. We have provided the directory ~/.local/bin, which is a relative directory name relative to tilde being the home directory, so /home/administrator. The full path of this directory is /home/administrator /.local/bin. It's empty, or maybe it just does not exist. It does exist, but it's empty. So this is not okay, a bug in Arch Linux. If this directory exists, ~/.local/bin, then it certainly should be part of the path environment variable. Let's fix this issue. Says that if we're using bash, and we are, we should have a configuration file named ~/.bashrc. Let's see if that's the case. Cat Ctrl+Shift+V. This file exists, has content, and it's not enough. We need at the end of this file this line. So let's do that. We can do it, for instance, running something like this. We can do it from command lines, or we can do it using a text editor. Let's do it from the command line this time. So I did echo nothing, which just outputted a new line. And then I said, don't write it to the standard output, so to this console, but instead append it to the file that I give. The file previously did not have a new line in here. Now it has a new line in here after the PS1 line. Okay. And then I want this thing. Ctrl-Shift-V. Let's see if it works, or if we need to escape it with, you know. And we didn't do it okay because it expanded this environment variable. So we need to use escaping, which I'm not exactly sure what is, in this part of this command line. Let's edit the file by hand. Nano is a terminal text user interface command line text editor that hopefully is installed. Bash RC. Okay. So this final line should look a bit different. I'm pressing the del key, the delete key. Okay. And it should look like this. Right click, paste. A trailing new line. So export, then the environment variable name path, then equals, then the value $sign path. The value I have just pasted, so it's definitely correct. Control X to save, to exit, and then it asks if I want to save. I go yes. So lowercase y. Then it asks the name of the file that I want to write to, which is the correct one, tilde/bashrc. I pressed enter. And now if we are going to look at the path environment variable, it has tilde/local/bin. It doesn't have it yet. Okay. Close and reopen your terminal window once should be enough. Let's do that. So I've closed the console application. I have reopened it. And now we're going to look at the path environment variable one more time. And now tilde/local/bin is at the end of the environment variable, which is what we want. Now we can run the command line that we have run before, which failed, which is actually this block. Paste. These packages have already been installed correctly using pacman. And now it's running the rest of this initial _setup.sh file from this Git repository. Okay, so there's an executable named kde-builder, which has been installed into this directory. Let's find the actual directory. For that, I'm going to use a text user interface file manager, which is called Midnight Commander. Let's see if I can do it from a single command line. Sudo pacman -s, and then mc is the package name. Okay, mc. In tilde/local/share/kde-builder, this is the place where the Git repository has been git cloned. This is the executable entry point of the Git repository kde-builder of the project kde-builder. There's a symlink that points to here, to kde-builder from ~local/share/kde-builder, and was created in one of the directories that's in the path environment variable, which is the directory ~/.local/bin. This is the symlink. So this file ~/.local/bin/kde-builder points to this file /home/administrator /.local/share/kde-builder/kde-builder. So kde-builder twice. Once is the name of the directory and second is the name of the file. We can now exit Media Commander by clicking on this button, F10 quit with the mouse. Okay, we can prove that kde-builder is in the path environment variable. We go which and then kd-builder. We can see that kde-builder autocompletes, so Bash knows how to autocomplete the name of the executable. I wrote kd-b and now I'm pressing the tab key once, autocompletes. It has help. Next up, we're at this line, kde-builder generate config. Let's run it. It has created a configuration file. Let's look at this configuration file. Right-click, copy. Gate is the graphical user interface text editor. Nano is the text user interface text editor. Let's see how the configuration files looks like. We can use Control mouse wheel to zoom. The contents are the default ones for kd-builder.yaml file inside of the directory ~/.config. The default content is okay, include dependencies. The directories that are going to be used are going to be created inside ~/kd directory. This is the CMake build configuration if you want to build and run the applications. If you don't want to use the debugger. Debugger would be the GNU debugger GDB or the debugger that's available inside integrated development environments such as Qt Creator. Num cores means the number of CPU threads that are going to be used when building. Auto means the maximum possible. This virtual machine has 14 vCPUs. So NCPU is not installed yet. cat/proc CPU info shows 14 CPU threads. Processor 1, processor 0, processor 1, processor 2, etc. until processor 13. Okay, we're using the CMake generator Ninja. We're using GCC, not CLang, C++, and C programming language compiler. Okay. So nothing to edit inside the build configuration ~/config/kd-builder.yaml. Let's see what's next. We need to install 1000 binary packages from the Arch Linux binary package repositories because those are needed by the Qt framework, by KD Git repositories. We don't need to provide the relative or full path of the executable kd-builder because the directory where kd-builder file exists is in the path environment variable. Okay, so it will install these packages, but also all of their dependencies. In short, it installs all of the Qt 5 packages from Arch Linux, all of the Qt6 packages from Arch Linux, and then some other binary packages which are needed by individual KDE Git repositories. Certainly all of the KDE Git repositories from the frameworks group should have the dependencies met when you just install kde-builder. Yes, I want to continue. I'm going to provide the sudo password. Okay, it's going to download just half a gigabyte of archives. Installed will be 2 gigabytes of archives of files. When setting up kde-builder, you need to make sure that you have enough space for building KDE Git repositories. You have somewhere the recommended size for your virtual machine or for your hard disk, for your home directory actually. I recommend at least 200 gigabytes in your home directory. You can survive with way less, but that would be an advanced scenario in my opinion. I'm not exactly sure how many packages are going to be installed, but I guess 1000. Okay. I'm using the fastest mirror possible when I have installed Arch Linux. In Arch Install, the text user interface wizard for installing Arch Linux. In mirrors, I have selected the worldwide mirror, which is actually a CDN, a content delivery network, and that provides the fastest possible speed when downloading binary packages from Arch Linux repositories. It's going to be superior to the other mirrors, which are just provided by various education and university institutions, for instance. Next up, this is not building the KDE Git repository kcalc, it's just running a simulation of what would happen if we were to git clone the Git repository for kcalc, which is the graphical user interface application from KDE, which is a desktop calculator, and then build it and install it. Let's see what it does. So it will do the following. It will git clone the Git repository sysadmin repo metadata, which contains the list of dependencies between KDE Git repositories. And then it determined that in order to build a KDE Git repository kcalc, it will also need to build 27 other Git repositories, mainly from the KDE community. So ECM, extra CMake modules from the KDE community, Wayland, not from the KDE community, Plasma Wayland protocols from the KDE community. This group, when it says from frameworks, that's from the KDE invent GitLab repositories, Git projects group, KDE frameworks. This is from the KDE community. Then many other KDE frameworks, kconfig, kinternationalization, kcore add-ons, kgui add-ons, etc. You can see that these are from the frameworks group. Okay. Then there's kwayland, kpipewire, which are libraries which are not needed by for building kcalc, but are needed for building the test suite of kcalc, the test suite. Okay, and after all of the needed Git repositories are cloned, configured, built, and installed, at the very end, it will take care of the kcalc KD Git repository. Git clone it, configure it, compile it, and install it. Okay, let's see how actually building works. It's going to do a ton of network traffic for Git cloning the individual Git repositories, and then it's going to use your CPU threads for configuring, compiling, and installing. Installing means copying files. Compiling means generating code and compiling C++ source code and linking C++ build artifacts, whatever, .o files. Okay, so it's going to do 28 steps, and it's past the third step. The most per module, the most time is taken for compiling. Installing is fast. If you have a good network connection, then Git cloning is fast. Configuring is fast. The thing that's taking the most time by far is compiling. If you're using a ton of CPU threads when compiling, you need to have a ton of random access memory. So in this case, it's a virtual machine. I have allocated 14 vCPUs, but I have also allocated I have allocated 16 gigabytes of random access memory, and then part of it is used for swap on ZRAM, which is not the best option. I recommend that you use an actual swap file. Yeah, you could use a swap partition, but I usually use a swap file. I don't really like to use swap on ZRAM because it's a virtual machine. I cannot allocate 32 gigabytes of random access memory to this virtual machine. So the more random access memory is free and available for disk caches, etc., maybe it's better than being used for ZRAM and swap. But swap is mandatory if you want to compile. Okay, and with this, we have kde-builder. We know how to build individual Git repositories, and we know the full list of KD Git repositories. How do you get to that? In two ways. Either you go straight to invent.kd.org, and you find your application in here, or the Git repository that you want, or you go to apps. And in here you select the application that you want to work on. From what I see, the sorting is descending by popularity and seems to actually be sorted by popularity descending, in the sense that Kate is extremely popular and it's the 7th in this list. Dolphin is the file manager, this application, which is similar to the Windows File Explorer. This is Ocular, a PDF reader similar to the Adobe Reader application. KDNLive is a video editor. I don't use video editor, so I do not know what's an equivalent application on macOS or on Windows. Arc would be similar to the 7-zip graphical user interface file manager. I use 7-zip as the default zip application in Windows. So Arc is a graphical user interface for application for managing 7 zip files, tar.gzip files, tar.bz2 files, etc. So archives. This is the image viewer application, GwenView. This is a screenshotting application. If you press the print screen key on your keyboard, this application will start. Krita is a painting application, a pixel manipulation application similar to Photoshop, but it's nowadays more geared towards graphics tablets. KD Connect is a tool for connecting your Android mobile phone to your KD Plasma. So this is the KD Plasma desktop environment. This is the KD Plasma start menu. This is the KD Plasma main panel. This is the KD Plasma system tray. This is the KD Plasma background and wallpaper. Discover is the App Store, which is this application. FileLight is an application that shows you how much free space you have on your partitions, which is the directory that contains takes the most space out of which partition. Kcalc is the application that we're just compiling from source using kde-builder. We're at step 8 out of 27. It's going to take a while until Kcalc is being built the first time, because the first time all of the git clones will happen. The next time when you run kde-builder space Kcalc, it will just refresh the git repositories. Will not do git clone operations, will do git fetch operations, git stash operations, git rebase origin master operations, git stash apply operations, etc., which are faster than the initial git clone. And then the first time it's doing a full build from scratch, whereas the next time you run kde-builder, it will do incremental builds. So it will not do a rebuild, it will do a build. Not a full build, but an incremental build. And those are really fast, around 2 seconds each. Whereas when you build the first time, you can see times like 43 seconds per one Git repository. Okay, this thing I have never used. Okay, Wallet Manager. Partition Manager is probably a tool for stretching your partitions, for shrinking your partitions, for deleting, creating partitions. Partitions being the way you split your hard disk, your virtual hard disk, your NVMe, your SSD, your storage. Kfind is an application for finding files. Kcolor Chooser is a color picker. This is an application similar to Microsoft Paint. This is a terminal that is similar to the terminal in the Quake application, in the Quake game, in the sense that it is minimized at the top of the screen, and when you want it, when you press a key binding, the terminal will appear from the bottom, will use part of the screen. You enter your commands, and then when you press the key combination again, the terminal will go away for a while. System log for viewing systemd logs, journals.ctl, and dmessage. A tool for KHR selector tool for selecting a Unicode character, KRDC, a RDP VNC client, KHelp Center, this application that contains the manual pages. It's missing. Oh. I'm not sure how you can not install the Help Center. Compare a difference viewer. You can compare two directories or two files. This is a tool that allows you to write on a USB stick, ISO image writer. K3b is a tool for writing to a DVD-ROM or a CDRW. Scanlight, a application that allows you to scan using the hardware scanner. This is an application for hardware webcams. This is an application for measuring your screen, or measuring, I don't know, the size of buttons. Let's see how we can install this thing. We can install it using Discover. Should not work because Discover doesn't support Arch Linux yet. Or you can install it from the Snap Store, which is a online store for Linux applications, which also works on Arch Linux, or from FlatHub, which is the same thing, an online store of applications that also work on Arch Linux. Well, I would expect Discover, the KDE Plasma App Store, to not have a backend for installing binary packages on Arch Linux, but I would expect it to have a backend to be able to install Flatpaks and Snap applications on Arch Linux. But then that also requires having Flatpak installed and the Discover backend for Flatpak installed, and having Snap installed and the Discover backend for Snap installed. Yeah, Discover probably cannot install the Flatpak Arch Linux binary package because Discover doesn't know how to install Arch Linux binary packages. That makes sense. But still, the settings panel in there should have shown something, not be empty in Plasma Discover. Okay, where are we? We did set up KDE src-build. We know the names of all of the KDE applications because we're looking at apps.kde.org and we're looking at the GitLab projects in invent.kde.org. For instance, in order to find the application, the multimedia editor, let's see if it's in the group multimedia. And it's called KDE-Live, and we found it. The Git repository location is invent.kde.org/multimedia/kde-live. If we want to build it using kde-builder, we would use the command line kde-builder space, the name of the Git repository, kde-live, all lowercase. Let's see some extra information about kde-builder. It has a command line parameter --help, says that the actual documentation is not installed on my computer, but it's available at these two locations, web pages. I'm interested in the command line parameters. Let's see that. Right click, copy link, open link. Wow. Right click, copy, Control TV. So there's the parameter --pretend, which we used the first time we have run kde-builder. We have run kde-builder space --pretend, and then the name of the Git repository kcalc, which didn't do anything, it just simulated. Include dependencies, we don't need to specify this command line parameter because it's a default option that we have in specified in kde-builder.yaml. it's this option. If include minus dependencies was true in the configuration file, then yes, you want to run minus minus include minus dependencies as command line parameter when you're using the kde-builder command. But since it's configured true, you don't need to provide this command line parameter because it's already true. Most kde-builder command line parameters have a negation. So if you want the opposite of minus minus include minus dependencies, that's minus no minus and the rest of the option. Include minus dependencies. kde-builder knows how to do two things: build correctly a Git repository, including all of its dependencies and installing into the directory where we specified, which is tilde/kd/usr/bin, or run a Git repository. You can go kd-builder space minus minus run and then the name of a Git repository, kcalc in our case. And what it does, it will actually behind in the backend, it will actually do two things: run a prefix.sh file which will set some environment variables, and then it will run the file that you would expect in the case of kcalc, which is tilde/kd/usr/bin/kcalc. Okay. And very advanced features that I have never used, like ignore projects, pretend, source when start program, revision, delete my patches, delete my settings, hold my work branches, etc. If you want to build all of the KD Git repositories, which is not a good idea because it's 400 of them, the command line parameter would be minus minus all minus KD minus projects. You probably don't want to do that. Resume from is if you're building, for instance, kcalc, 22 Git repositories will be built. Let's say that building the 6th kcore add-ons fails. You fix kcore add-ons such that it fails. Most often when a Git repository fails to build using kde-builder is either that you have some strange thing in your configuration file, in here in kd-builder.yaml, or you're not up to date. For instance, kde-builder is not up to date. One of the Git repositories from the KD community that are being used when building kcalc is not up to date, or you want to force rebuild one of the previous Git repositories. So you don't want, for instance, Plasma Wayland protocols to be incrementally built, but you want it to be rebuilt from scratch. Because maybe just incrementally building is not enough. Something dramatic has changed into Plasma Wayland protocols that requires a full rebuild, not just a build. Okay, so you know the entire list of KD Git repositories. You know how to build one Git repository. You know how to build all of them. That's the most important part of reading from KD Git repositories. Let's see what's next. Next would be to see how the files arrive on your hard disk. You can use, for instance, the default file manager, Dolphin. I actually use another graphical user interface file manager, which is called Crusader. Let me install that. This is a twin pane file manager, also called an orthodox file manager. You have seen these types of graphical user interface file managers before: Norton Commander, Midnight Commander, Total Commander, DOS Navigator, etc. It has a first run wizard. You should ignore what I'm doing right now. I'm doing the steps, the configuration that I always do when I'm installing Crusader, so maybe this is not what you want. And then just one more, which is which one? This thing. I want as file text editor for the F4 key, I want the default graphical user interface text editor from KD, which is USR, bin, and gate. That's it. Okay, some other extra settings, no function keys, I know them by heart. Embedded terminal, no status bar, and no main toolbar. So I have kept the menu, the main menu, the two panes, and the terminal at the bottom. Okay, let's look at the configuration file and see. We are going to use for directories all within my home directory and then the KD subdirectory there. And the directories are the following: source directory, /kd/src. In here, the source code is downloaded. The source code is cloned because kde-builder does Git operations, doesn't download source code tarballs and unpacks them. So in the case of kcalc, this is the directory. This color scheme is not okay. I'm going to tell you the full path. So I went settings, configure Crusader. There's a search bar in here, and I want full paths both in the tab name and maybe also somewhere else. Let's restart. I still cannot see this thing because it's white on white. The path bar, but I can see the full path in the tab button. Okay. So the directory where kcalc git repository has been git clone is tilde/kd/src/kcalc. We can see that it's just a git clone because we can do git operations on it, git status, git GUI. We don't have git GUI yet, so let's install that thing. How do we do that? Pacman minus uppercase s, lowercase s, git k, no such thing, git GUI, no such thing. So it's part of the git package, which we did install already. And I remember it said that it wanted the TK package. And I also want less. Let's go less, the paginator, and then TK. Okay. So git GUI is a graphical user interface application. It's part of the Git package, part of the Git upstream project. You can see that we're on the master branch. We can see the full history, all of the Git branches, both on the remote, which are remote origin, or on local. I have a Git local branch, which is this one master. The rest are Git branches on the remote origin. There's Git tags. Maybe there's, I don't know, backport Git branches. I'm not sure if we have these. We can see that the local Git branch points to the same Git commit as the remote's origin master branch, Git branch, which means that I'm up to date. I have all of the Git commits from the remote Git repository, and my master branch points to the same place. Okay. Let's see how we can look at this, at the source code in this Git repository. We can use the recommended graphical user interface integrated development environment that I recommend for when you start programming for KDE, which is called Qt Creator. Let's see how we get instructions for that. My wiki page and mariusp.github.io, and then this last URL, which is my user under the official KDE wiki, which is community.kde.org/user:/mariusp. At the bottom, I have instructions for Qt Creator. I usually recommend that you install Qt Creator using the online installer. So let's do that. We need to go to the official Qt website. You can search on the internet. Qt framework. The official website is qt.io. Accept all cookies. Download, try this button at the top right corner. I'm a Qt community user guy, and I want the Qt online installer. I don't want to evaluate anything, so I go at this link, explore Qt community edition. I'm searching from here, I'm scrolling in here, and says looking for Qt binaries, download the Qt online installer. Let's do that. I'm on Linux. I'm not sure why the download did not start yet. It did not. Choose a different installer if Linux isn't the right one. Linux is the right one. Click on it. Qt online installer for Linux x64. Correct. Let's put it into the ~downloads directory. Okay. And let's follow my tutorial from here. How can I resize this thing? Okay, so it says install Qt Creator. I have a file manager, Crusader. I have a executable. It's downloaded in ~downloads. Let's go there. It's named Qt Online Installer. Let's make it executable. We could do it from the command line, or we can do it with graphical user interface mode, permissions. So I went right click on the file, properties, permissions tab, allow executing file as program. Okay. Double click on the file. This is how the Qt Online installer looks like. I go next. Asks for a user and password. This is one of the online accounts that I suggest you create. So for qt.io, how you created on the Qt website. You go click on Qt account link and you create an account. I already have an account. Let me use my user and password. Okay, so this is my account. Help us improve. Yes. LGPL version 2. No, GPL version 2, LGPL version 3, or GPL version 3, depending. I have read, I'm an individual. Next. Okay, it has selected the correct install directory, which is the default one, which is /qt. I don't want, so the Qt Online Installer is used for installing generally two things: Qt Creator, the integrated development environment, and a version pre-built of the Qt framework. I already have a correct pre-built version of the Qt framework. I have installed it using kde-builder that has installed a ton of Arch Linux packages, most of the Qt 6 modules from Arch Linux binary packages. So I'm going to go custom installation. Next. I don't want Qt Design Studio. This is a graphical user interface designer tool, so tool for designers. I do not want to install the Qt framework. So in here, for instance, it selects automatically the newest Qt version. I do not want that. Installing Qt framework from the online installer is a different topic. So how you do that, you probably click here, unclick these, and click here. Something like that. So all of the additional libraries, the correct version for Qt PDF extension, Qt Web Engine extension, the 6.9, the default one, the last released, and then Qt 6.9, but I do not need web stuff and Android stuff. But again, I do not need the Qt framework, I already have it. Okay, so now we don't have the next version of Qt, we don't have the designer tool, we don't have the Qt framework. I'm not sure why CMake and Ninja is selected in here, but I never changed these things. And then Qt Creator is selected by default, the integrated development environment. And we want that. That's the only thing that we actually want. Next. I have read. Next. Downloading CMake, Ninja, and Qt Creator. They're probably 7-zip archives pre-compiled. So nothing needs to be compiled on your computer. It's already built on the computers of the Qt framework. Installation finished. Next. And we can start the integrated development environment. From the start menu, create Qt Creator. Let's see. Says, would you like to take the quick UI tour? Take the tour. On the left, there's some selectors. It's the integrated development environment is modal in the sense that you're either looking at the template samples if you're on the welcome screen, or you can edit in the edit mode or debug in the debug mode, etc. Help is a viewer for Qt documentation. Kit selector, you will see immediately, and the buttons for running, debugging, and building. Locator, it's an interesting way of navigating to a file and line or to a class. Some tool windows are minimized here. Progress indicator. Escape to editor. If you press escape multiple times, the things that are open will close, like the tool windows will close, the help will close, etc., etc., and you'll go back to the editor. Okay, so this is the welcome, which allows you to open an existing example. Configure usage. I already configured this thing. Cancel. Okay, I configured for the Qt online installer, not for Qt creator. Next up, let's see if Kcalc has built correctly. So Kcalc finished building. Let's see if we can run the application. So again, if you want to build kd-builder space Kcalc, if you want to run kd-builder run Kcalc. This is how the desktop application looks like. About KD, help about Kcalc, help find action. These are all the actions that exist in the main menu and in the toolbars. You can also see the shortcuts. For instance, for undo, it's Ctrl Z. Okay. Now let's look at the next directories. So ~kd/src/kcalc was the directory where the Kcalc git repository was git cloned. Let's see where it was built. Build took place in another place, ~kd/build/kcalc in this directory. So in here, cmake-configure step took place. In here, code was generated by the Qt executables, by the mock compiler, the meta object compiler, by the RC source compiler, by the UIC user interface XML files compiler. And then everything was built to .o files, linked to .so files, to executables. This is a .a static linking library. And inside of the bin directory is the final executables. There's one executable for each of the tests, executable with testing names, and the most important one, the entry point, the executable, Kcalc. By just double-clicking on this executable, you can run Kcalc. And the directory where you are, it's tilde/kd/bin/kcalc/bin. This was the configure step and the build step. The install step takes this file from here and puts it into a different place, which is tilde/kd/usr/bin. So the install step takes this file and puts it here. tilde/kd/usr is similar to /usr, what we have in a Linux distribution in /usr. So there's a bin directory, an include directory with C and C++ header files, a lib directory with .so files, a shared directory with icons, images, mouse cursors, themes, etc., manuals, documentation. Again, /usr is not touched by kde-builder, just this directory tilde/kd. But in order to run these executables, you need to either use kd-builder-run Kcalc, or the alternative, which is like this, source tilde/kd/build/kcalc prefix.sh. So this one command line, and the second command line is this one. this is the correct way of running an executable that's built and installed by kde-builder. And we can see that the correct executable has started, which is this one, tilde/kd/usr/bin/kcalc. We can do ls off and grab kcalc. No ls off. Interesting. I'm on Arch Linux. I want to have the executable ls off. I do not know the name of the pacman page, the package that I need to install using pacman. So I'm using the wiki page from the Arch wiki named Rosetta, which I know the command line, the similar command that in the Debian Linux operating system family searches for, you give it a file and it outputs the name of a deb package that contains that file. So that's apt -file search. So probably pacman -f. Let's try. I want to know the name of the binary package that contains the executable, probably /usr/bin/lsoff. fy to download. Now it complains that I'm not the user root because it wants to download metadata about repositories. So let's do that. Okay, and the name is lsoff, not surprisingly. Sudo pacman -s lsoff. Yes. And now we can run the lsoff command line. Okay, a ton of output. We can see that some .so files are loaded from tilde/kd/usr/lib for the KD frameworks version 6. Other libraries are loaded from /usr/lib, for instance, X libraries or Qt6. This is a GTK GNOME library. This is a OpenGL acceleration library. And somewhere in this list should also be /home/administrator/kde/usr/bin/kcalc. This guy. So the correct executable was loaded, not the one from tilde/kd/build, but the one from tilde/kd/usr, where it was installed, not where it was compiled or built. Okay, let's continue with the Qt Creator. We have installed it. So these steps, we're not installing from binary packages. We're not using a QML designer. It's Qt Creator at least version 15. Let's find out. Help about, it's version 16. Okay. We'll need this thing if we want to debug. And we want to debug, so let's actually edit. cmake -options in tilde/.config/kde-builder.yaml. This thing needs to be debugged. Save. And everything needs to be rebuilt from scratch. It's interesting. It seems to be doing a incremental build, although it's the two CMake build configurations are totally different. Maybe these modules did not use CMake. They're using Meson. Wayland. This guy, yeah, I can see in here. Because it doesn't say Ninja. It doesn't say CMake. Okay, so this is going to take half an hour. But you should, if you want to use a debugger, you should from the start replace rel with deb-info with debug. I don't see any advantage to actually using rel with deb-info. I always go to, when I install kde-builder, I'll always edit the kde-builder.yaml file and put debug as the build configuration instead of rel with deb-info. Theoretically, when you're using rel with deb-info, the executables are smaller, faster. They're not stripped, so they continue to have debug symbols inside of the actual executable files and .so files, but they're just optimized. You can interrupt kde-builder anytime by pressing the Ctrl and C combination, Ctrl C. Whenever you restart, it's going to start from the start, but is again not going to do a rebuild but a build, so it's going to be really fast on all modules from 1 to 6 out of 28. The module 7 will continue from where it left off, which is if it did 18% the previous time, the second time when you run kde-builder kcalc, it will do more and it will take a ton of time the first time in kGUI add-ons, but it will continue from the existing percent. So not a problem if you press Ctrl C, nothing interesting will happen. Nothing will fail the next time when you run kde-builder kcalc. So we have built some modules with debug symbols, some not, because we don't have enough time to wait forever. And now let's continue. So it says that you should build a module, which we did. Then we should open the file cmake cache from ~kd/build and then the name of the module. Let's do that. And just copy paste. Open project. I'm on the welcome screen and I click on open project, but you can also go from the Qt Creator main menu, file, open file or project. In here you just copy paste, open, and then in here hidden is a configure project button. The correct checkbox is put in here and just configure project. It's going to run cmake in here. The cmake configure step, it's going to run it automatically. It looks okay. It succeeded. It did run the cmake configure step in exact same way that kde-builder has done it. So if kde-builder has succeeded building the kcalc module, then kde-builder has succeeded running the cmake configure step for kcalc, and then Qt Creator will successfully run the step cmake configure for kcalc. And then it's running some clang low-level language server things to tokenize, whatever, to understand the source code of this C++ project. And then the source is, the project is presented in a CMake view. So that's the edit tool window, switch to edit mode, Ctrl 2. And then from this combo box, you select projects, which is the default. This is the CMake view. There's a executable target, which you can see it's called kcalc. There's a top level CMake list.txt file. There's a more CMake.lists files in subdirectories. And let's see one of these. Add test. Appium tests. Let's look at the file system because it's going to be easier. So inside the directory where we git clone kcalc, there's a top level CMake list.txt file that says the minimum CMake version, the version of Qt that's needed, the version of KD frameworks that needed, the KD frameworks that are needed, the Qt modules that are needed, and then the name of the executable kcalc, which is this guy, which is where is it? This guy, run configuration, which is this thing. In here it says kcalc, in here it says kcalc. This is the executable that's going to be run when we press on the run button or on the start debugger button. If we build, it's going to build just kcalc, not any of the dependencies. Qt Creator doesn't really know about the other KD Git repositories, the other 28 Git repositories that kde-builder builds, knows only about the current Git repository, which is the one for kcalc. Okay, and there's the edit view. In here you can switch to a simpler tool window, which is the file system one, which shows something similar to what you see in a file manager, directories and files, or something similar that you would see in to what you would see in Visual Studio Code if you open this directory. Okay, let's go to the entry point of this project. So the top level, there's a readme.md which you should read. Then there's other two important files which are hidden. How do we show hidden files in here? I don't know. The other important files is rkd-ci.yml, the hidden file. This says the KD Git repositories that need to be built first before building this one. This says that this module contains tests, and the tests run correctly on the Linux operating systems, on the FreeBSD operating system, and on Windows operating system. This module, kcalc, has been ported to Windows, and it compiles and runs correctly on Windows. Okay, and CMake list.txt. In here we can see that the executable name is kcalc, and in order to build kcalc you need to build a ton of C++ translation units, so all of these CPP files, and because we're using Qt, also a resource QRC file is needed. There are .ui files. There's internationalization support, which means being able to run kcalc both in English US, United States, and also in German, Germany. So translated to German, for instance. you need to learn CMake. So that's on this track, how to learn. You saw previously a list of resources on the wiki. In here, wiki page full of learning resources. Some resources about CMake. Okay, let's go to the entry point of this kcalc executable. How do we find that? We look at the target sources. It's probably kcalc.cpp or main.cpp. There's no main.cpp, maybe this one, kcalc.cpp. And we can see that's in the top level directory, which is strange. It's not that great to have 100 files in the root directory of a Git project. There should be a src subdirectory. Okay, kcalc.cpp, this guy. And then from this combo box, which you can sort alphabetically, you can select the entry point. It's a C++ executable, so the entry point is what you would expect. A free function named main returns void or int, has as parameters nothing or the command line arguments. We can put a breakpoint in here. We can see if go to definition works. So I control click on key about data. It goes to the correct place, key about data.h in ~kd/usr/include. We can close this file by pressing Ctrl W or this button. We can see the open documents, so similar to a tab list, it's this tool window where it says open documents. So navigating to a symbol works. I clicked on line 2923 on the symbol about data and it went to line 2908 where this symbol is defined. So this identifier, then key about data is a class, goes to the class definition, Ctrl W. This is a static method, Ctrl click goes to the correct place, static void method name in klocalized string class in the include file, in the .h file, where the definition of the class is. Classes in Qt and C++ and KDE don't really have fields, member fields storage. They use the dptr strategy in order to make the size of a type be not variate in time, which should be, I don't know, 4 each time or something, the size of a pointer. There's many methods, static methods, constructors, destructors. This is an integrated development environment. It does what you would expect out of an integrated development environment, such as opening files, a text editor, text viewer, has syntax highlighting, has collapsers, has breakpoints, has debugger, runner. It knows how to run CMake configure, maybe bookmarks, a huge context menu in the text editor, auto-completion, help. So if I hover on top of the static method set application domain on the symbol, it shows documentation, says where it's defined, the fact that it's a static method, output type, input or parameters, arguments, including the complete signature, key about data. Okay, navigation to symbols. This I expect it to be a macro, but it's not. apparently. Go back, Alt left, the same as in a web browser. Okay. QString constructor. It goes to QString class because maybe there's no default constructor. Let's see if there's one or not. QString and QString without any parameters. And there is one, const expr. What's a const expr? The constructor const expr. Okay. The KDE community uses a pretty recent version of the C++ programming language, so you'll need to learn all of these things that appeared after C++ 11, C++ 14, such as const expr. And functional programming syntax, etc. Resizing, moving, etc. Let's go back to the, not the file system, but the projects view. Let's see if it selects the correct place when we go to kcalc.cpp. Nope. So I needed to nudge the button synchronize with editor. Okay. And let's start the debugger. Theoretically, you should build first and then start the debugger. Or maybe build first and run and then start the debugger. But running will build if needed. Now, right now it's building. It's building 32 C++ files and also files generated by one of the 3 Qt framework executables. And then linking. Okay, the executable was generated, but the executable is not installed. It was just compiled, not installed. So probably the executable that runs now is from ~kd/build, not from ~kd/usr/bin. Let's actually prove that. So I'm running lsoff grep calc, kcalc. We have too many kcalcs. Let's stop and start debugging. We can start it from here or from here or from debug, start debugging of startup project. This is the application output. It has stopped on the correct place, the only place where we have a breakpoint on line 2903. And now if we run lsoff grep by kcalc, the executable file that's being run should be the one from ~kd/build. And that's the one. ~kd/build/kcalc/bin. Okay, so be very, very careful if you want to build a KDE library. In order to run it correctly from an executable that's from another Git repository, you probably want to install that library. So for that, use kde-builder, because that, besides building the library, will also install it in ~kd/usr/lib. But because this is a final executable, nothing depends on it, it's not a shared library, it's okay if we don't install it and if we just build it into the correct directory, into the default directory which was selected by cmake configure, which was used by kde-builder, which then is also used by Qt Creator in tilde/kd/build/kcalc/bin/kcalc. Okay, let's resize a bit the tool windows and let's see. So debug, there's continue to go to the next breakpoint or to exit if there's no other breakpoints. Let's see that, F5. It doesn't exit because main doesn't really exit. Main goes calc show and up exec. So up exec is blocking. After up exec will not finish instantly and then go to line 296364 and exit the process kcalc. No, this is a very long running function, a method, which inside runs the main loop of the graphical user interface application, which is inside the Qt framework. And that makes it available to have graphical user interface controls displayed and the controls to be functioning. If you're inside the main loop and you're paused, you cannot see tooltips, you cannot see highlights when you move the mouse around, you cannot actually use the main menu of an application, etc. Because these actions are only possible if the main loop is running, not if it's paused inside a debugger. And now if let's put a breakpoint after 2963. If we close the application, unclaimed breakpoint. Yeah, after we close the application, what happens is that the main window of the kcalc application will close and the main loop of the kcalc application will see that there are no windows of this executable, so we'll exit the main loop and that then goes here and finishes the process. Okay, what else can we see inside Qt Creator? There's an editor for graphical user interface. These are .ui files, are actually XML files specified by Qt, and the executable UIC is run on top of these to generate C++ source code. There's a built-in forms editor, this guy, which edits .ui files. There's also a standalone application that can be used in order to edit UI files. That's probably from the development group. Nope, it's not in here. It's part of the Qt 6 development package tools. Qt Designer is the name. Okay, you can see that there's a special button, a special mode in Qt Creator ID, which is the design mode. Switch to design mode, Ctrl 3. Back to edit mode. Open with plain text editor. It's an XML file. Okay, then there's resources, are mostly used to have inside the kcalc executable, which is just a single file, extra things like icons, fonts, configuration files, resource, whatever, and other files. This is a configuration file. The KD project uses an INI file format. kconfig. Kconfig is a framework. You can see it being built when you build modules at the start. This guy kconfig, the fourth module to be built. This is for persisting user settings. For instance, the user might want to have the buttons in kcalc not be black, be red. And maybe there's a setting for button foreground color that's by default black, and you make it red, and then you need to persist it somewhere. You persist it using kconfig in a configuration file, which will be then placed probably into tilde/.config in here as a file like this. INI file, so a section and a key value pair, key name and value of the key. Property name, property value. But you should build a large number of modules using kde-builder. You should run a large number of modules using kd-builder space -- run. And then you should load in Qt Creator a large number of graphical user interface applications, debug them, step into them, navigate source code. So you should read a ton of source code and see it working by putting a breakpoint and seeing what it actually does. Kcalc parser, you want to see what this string to token method does, put a breakpoint in here, start the debugger, go to the next breakpoint, continue, and now you can see what the method does. So the buffer contains the 7 because we pressed the 7 button, index 0, base 10. Okay, QC debug is debug log. So this is called tracing by Microsoft. It's debug logs. It's the things you would do in libraries such as what are the common debug log libraries? Log4j, log4net, those things. In here we say that log level is debug. The category is kcalc log, which is an actual, string. Yes. So this is probably a column. If you output debug log, if you configure the debug logs to be written to text files or to standard output, there will be one line per QC debug invocation, one debug log line, and that will have multiple columns. One column will be the current time step with milliseconds. Another column will be the name of the process, the process ID, the PID of the process, the thread ID, this text, the file where the logging took place, kcalc _parser.cpp, the line number 52, etc. So kcalc log would be one of the columns and have this string content, org.kd.kcalc. Okay, this is the less than operator for QC debug. What is this thing? It's actually a who knows what? A constructor, right? Yes, an object is being constructed because we're using less than operator on that object. And this is the operator on the class. On the class what? I don't know. QDebug. We can go to definition even for operators. And what it does, there's a stream in there. This stream is I don't know what. Struct. This is a type defined embedded in the definition of another type. But then it has both a name and pointer. So this is actually a private field or something. Okay. And stepping into means that you are not pressing the step over F10 button, but you're pressing the F11 step into button. So F10 step over means go to the line 54, go to line 55, go to line 58, and step into means enter the method starts with. Doesn't want to do it because we probably don't have the debugs, or rather don't have the CPP source code for the starts with. So we have the definition of the starts with method. We don't have the body of the method, so the debugger doesn't have where to step into. The debugger wants to enter the source code of the body of the method and cannot. F10, F10. Index off. Nope, clear is null. I don't know where we are. Captured. Yes, and we finally have the body of a method from Qt, the Qt framework. So Qt string, qstring.h, qstring class, and then there's this complicated operator, and it has a definition. We're inside the .h file, but it also has the method body inside of the .h file. And this is what a debugger shows us, the method body. Okay. Okay, and we'll be able to step inside the constructor of k number on line 573. So F10 once and F11 once. And now we're inside the constructor of key number with const qstring reference parameter. Static const inside of the method body. Wow. Const inside the method body. Okay. Sometimes it doesn't, the debugger doesn't go where you want it when you press F10. Sometimes it will enter very deep inside a method. Maybe you forgot a breakpoint there. Maybe some .so files have debug symbols. Maybe others are stripped of debug symbols. Maybe some SO files have debug symbols but have been optimized with -02. Others have not been optimized with, I don't know, -G, or what's the GCC, G++ command line parameter to generate debug binaries versus optimized with O2 executables and binaries. The debugger is very important for me because I'm always inside the debugger. I always read source code inside the debugger. I always edit source code inside the debugger while the debugger is actually running. And after I make my code changes, I'll always go with the debugger a number of times over my code changes to see if everything's the way I expect it. Like if the identifiers have the correct values, the local variables have the correct values, I don't mutate some parameters that I receive with just ref without const via the method, etc. Okay, you have locals in here you can inspect. You can put expressions like this m-value thing. You can inspect it. How do we do that? Add expression evaluator, this thing. Okay, it was null ptr 0 times 0, so 0 in base 16, and now it totally has a value. Can delete it. Okay, you have the call stack. So for the current thread, which is thread 1, the main thread, the graphical user interface thread, this is the current function or method that we're in, which is a constructor of key number, which was called from the string to token q, which was called from kcalculator commit input, which is called from kcalculator slot input change, etc. This is the list of breakpoints. This is the list of threads. This is the list of threads. This is the standard output, standard error from the process, application output, tool window, Alt 3, compile output, Alt 3, tool window. There's a terminal, similar to Visual Studio Code. General messages sometimes has the output from cmake configure. You can stop, you can run the cmake configure again, which is run cmake, and the output is in general messages. You can build. This time it will not be an incremental build. It will be a... No, it's an incremental build. Interesting. You can do a full build main menu, and then we're for kcalc rebuild. There's many options from here, but you need to not look at the group with all projects, not to look the group with all configurations, but the group with kcalc, and we go rebuild in here. 76 translation units and other things. I'm not sure what compiler is being used, probably G++. The build is actually cmake ---- build, which is great. It's actually delegating the build to cmake, which is the correct thing to do. Okay, 76 translation units, linkers, link actions, etc. done. We have the executable that we want. Bin kcalc in tilde/kd/build/kcalc. We can just run it without the debugger, run Ctrl+R button. Okay. Then I have built another module. Kcalc was written in Qt widgets. This one is written in QML, which is a different programming language, similar to JavaScript. The name is different. It's KALK without a lowercase c in here. So the previous name was kcalc, and now it's calc without. Notice the small difference. Okay, I have built kcalc, calc, And this is a QML application. This will not run correctly if I don't follow more of the steps in this wiki page on Qt Creator. So let's actually do that. Open Qt Creator, file, open file or project. We want the one for the other calc. Where am I? Okay, the build calc. And in here there's a CMake cache file. You can copy the file path, Ctrl-Alt-C, paste, Ctrl-V, open. And now we can run CMake configure correctly. We can build correctly, but we cannot run correctly. Okay, we need to press the configure button. This will run CMake configure step correctly, automatically. We can go build. And we can try to run. And it did run, but it still did not run it perfectly. I don't know how to prove that it didn't run this thing correctly, but in order to make sure you're actually running it perfectly, you need to consider this file tilde slash kd/build/kalk prefix.sh. All of these environment variables you want to be set in the environment where the executable calc runs. Okay, so let's look at the wiki where it says we should look at the prefix.sh file, which we did. And then we should run this block. So let's do that. Let's have a new terminal. And it's a different module name, kalk. And let's see if only these executables exist. So path, xdg data dirs, xdg config dirs, qml plugin path, qml2 import path, Qt quick control style path, man path, sassle path. Okay, so we can run these things. Okay, and we should copy the output, which is this part, and save it like this. So in Kate, new, Ctrl-V. This is the name of the file that we want. Save as, Ctrl-V, save. And then this content needs to be put in a special place in Qt Creator. Let's do that. So Qt Creator left sidebar projects, this guy. Tooltip, switch to projects mode, Ctrl-5. Under the bold build and run, this guy. Run, this guy. And run settings page is shown, this guy. In the combo box run configurations, this guy. It should say calc, it does. In the environment group box, which is this guy, press on the down arrow. Okay, and then there's details, this thing. Environment group box, expand details. To the right of append path, there is an empty multi-line edit box. So this space, in here, we should paste. Nope. Control A, Control C. Control A, Control V. You can check the checkbox show in application output when running. Let's see where that thing is. Show in application output when running. The values of the environment variables are going to be printed in application output Alt3. Okay, and now we can start running. And we can confirm that these values are in the environment variable of the process that was just started by Qt Creator. So let's see, one, XDG data dirs, X, they are sorted alphabetically, XDG data dirs, this guy, has two values, something from tilde/kd/usr share, and then two other values, correct? XDG config dirs, these three. Okay, so the environment variable is exactly the same as if you run manually the command lines source tilde/kd/build/k/klk/prefix.sh, and then you start calc, which is what we want. We want Qt Creator to do things in an as similar way as possible to KDE-builder. Yeah, I cannot prove that the application is starting incorrectly, but I know it's starting incorrectly because the environment variables have the wrong values. Yeah, for instance, I know SASL path does not exist at all. Man path does not exist at all. Qt quick controls style path does not exist at all. So the correct way to run all of the executables when using Qt Creator is to create this file tilde/expanded-prefix-sh.txt, and then just for all of the projects that you open in Qt Creator that are KD projects, you just copy the content of the expanded prefix sh.txt file, Ctrl A, Ctrl C, Ctrl V. In here it's really fast to do. Make sure you have show in application output when running set. And then you can debug correctly. There's many breakpoints, but in other projects. So do delete them, Ctrl A, delete. And there's this interesting thing that you can start debugging from Qt Creator main menu, debug, start debugging, and then there's a button to stop on in here. So debug main menu, start and break on main F10. It will identify the source code of the main function, which is the entry point or function of the executable, and it will immediately stop after the debugger figures out what's the first source code line that's executed from the main function. So line 31 for kcalc, different line for different projects, different files for different projects. So for kcalc, there was the kcalc.cpp file. For klk, it's main.cpp file. And then F10, F11 as needed. Okay. If you have built a module using kde-builder, the debugger will be able to step into the CPP source code of the methods of that module. But we're not building Qt from source, so we cannot step into source code file from the Qt framework that's inside CPP files. We can step inside source code, inside the body of methods from the Qt framework that are defined in .h files. Why some methods have the body in .h files? Because C++ templates, for example. Okay, so that's about all for the debugger and for Qt Creator. You should learn how to use Qt Creator correctly, all of the features, and you should use Qt Creator for programming for KDE for at least 80 hours. Do a ton of debugging, do some Git commits, do some GitLab merge requests, and propose them for the KDE Git repositories. Only after that, after 80 hours where you have used Qt Creator correctly, are you, in my opinion, allowed to graduate from the Qt Creator integrated development environment and go to some other text editor or integrated development environment that you prefer. The options would be Kate with the LSP plugin, just Kate with kde-builder with not using the debugger. You could just use plain GDB. Or there's the integrated development environment from JetBrains, which is called CLion. Or there's Visual Studio Code. And for the adventurers, there's also Vim and Vim with ACLang, the language server protocol server, and debug adapter protocol. There's options if you like Emacs, etc. Okay. Let's see what's next. You know how to use an integrated development environment. You know how to debug the source code. You know how to change the source code. You know C++. You're learning Qt as you go. You know how to edit .ui files. You know where the KDE configuration files are stored, and that we use INI files, not some binary file format. What would be next? At that point, you would graduate from reading KDE Git repositories. You will continue to learn because learning takes years. And then you will be able to start writing to the KDE Git repositories. How do we do that? From the procedure, how to start programming for KDE. At some point, it talks about how to propose your changes. So you build using kde-builder the module kcalc from the KDE community. You find an issue there, fix it, test it thoroughly in Qt Creator using the debugger. You're satisfied with your change. Next up, you want to do a git commit. How you do a git commit? Part of learning. You also need to learn how to use Git, how to use git commit from how to use Git from the command line. You should know how to git fetch, git clone, git rebase, git stash apply, git status, git log, a ton of things. And then, in addition, I recommend that you learn git-k and git-gui. Let's go to a Git repository such as calc with 2 Ks. It's a Git repository. We can prove from the command line git status, git log. We're in the wrong directory. So src, not build. So git status, git log, git k, git k all, git GUI, amend last commit, don't amend last commit, visualize all branch history, patch, push once you have a git commit. You can see that the terminal is not expecting any input because we started the graphical user interface application without specifying to be detached from the terminal. So we want to actually detach it. All graphical user interface command lines, when you start them from the terminal, you need to finish them with an ampersand, the AND character. Now the terminal is free again. Let's do some changes in here. How do we do that? I know Kate dot opens Kate in the current directory. You can see it in the projects view. You can see it in the documents view. These are the open files. There's another view, which is the file system view, settings, configure Kate, plugins, file system browser. Okay. This button. Which one is better? I don't know. Either the file system tool window or the projects tool window. Let's edit something. Inside the readme, we'll find an issue and we'll fix it. Calc is a conversion calculator built with the Kirigami framework. Although it is mainly targeted for mobile platforms, it can also be used on the desktop. Maybe the dependencies are wrong. Who knows? Maybe they are. Let's see what are the actual dependencies. KDCI says that it depends on ECM, Kcore add-ons. Kcore add-ons is not in here. What's the name of Kcore add-ons? I don't know. KD invent Kcore add-ons. Probably this one. This guy. Okay, so after ECM, Qt6, CMake, it's in here. This order is sorted alphabetically. Not really. Really, I don't know. Okay, so Kcore add-ons was not specified in readme.md top level file in the dependencies, but it's actually needed because we can see it in here. It's needed by Kcore add-ons. How can we actually prove that it's needed? Let's do a search, Ctrl-Shift-F. Core add-ons. And search case insensitive, which is the default search. In current project. You can see it in here. It's required by the top level CMake list.txt. It's required by the about page.qml. So yes, what we did is correct. Save. Where were we? In here. So we can do a git GUI. It's already opened. Rescan button. So just one file was modified. The modification was not staged. Now it's staged. The name of the file is readme.md. Paste. What did we do? In dependencies, add Kcore add-ons. The fact that the readme.md duplicates the top level CMake list.txt is a don't repeat yourself violation. the fact that readme.md duplicates the content of .kd-ci.yaml is another don't repeat yourself violation. Practically, the KD frameworks on which this repository kcalc depends on is specified in at least 3 files, and it's specified incorrectly in these files. Like the actual source of truth might be the cmake list.txt file, but also might not be, in the sense that maybe kcore add-ons is not used at all, nowhere in the source code, just required in the top level cmake list.txt. It's not great to have duplicated source code. You should strive to deduplicate it, because like in this case, there wasn't a one-to-one match between the top level cmake list.txt and readme.md regarding kcore add-ons. Okay, you cannot actually write to the Git repository, your local Git repository, because you did not finish the procedure. So let's go back to where we were. It says submit new software changes for review, but also as part of set up a development environment with kde-builder. Let's see. Somewhere it's specified that you need to create a online account, or so you need to have an online account for your email address from gmail.com, I recommend. And then you're using this email account to create an account with identity. identity.kd.org. And then this account that you're creating here, you're going to be using in in Invent. Where is it? In here, in https://invent.kd.org/framework/kcore add-ons. You go sign in, and you provide this online account that you have created here. And then you want the same email address that you're using to create your KD identity, and you will need to provide your correct name, so first name and family name, and use command lines similar to this one. So git config --global user.email, and then this is your Gmail mail account in double quotes, and then git config --global user.name, and then within double quotes your correct full name. Otherwise you cannot git commit to your local Git repository. And then after you git commit to your Git repository, you will be able to write to the KDE Git repositories. After you become a KDE developer and you have the possibility of writing to the origin. Until you are able to write to the origin, you will need to do forks. Let's see how these things are detailed. So in here it says configure Git. You need to create a KDE identity account. You need an email address. In here you put your email address. In here you put your full name. With your KDE identity account, you need to log into Invent, and then in here it says about the username. And then inside Invent, which is an instance of GitLab. GitLab is a SourceForge, a GitForge. You probably know this website, gitlab.com. GitLab.com is both this platform, software as a service, but also a software package that you can download and you can install inside your organization. This is what the KDE community has done. And this is it, an instance of GitLab installed on the KDE's servers. You log inside here, and one of the first things that you need to do is to create your secrets, to create your SSH pair of public and private keys. You create them on your machine and upload towards KDE Invent to your account the public part of your key. The private part will only be available on your computer. Don't give it to anyone. It's all documented in here. Then you should also have an account on the issue tracker, which is bugs.kde.org, which looks like this. It's an instance of Mozilla Bugzilla, also installed on the KDE servers. We use two-factor authentication. I recommend that you use the Google application for that, which is called Google Authenticator.